Hello everybody, we're back with another Destiny 2 video, and today everybody's going to want to strap in and get ready. This is going to be a long video. Today we're talking about the Destiny 2 TWAB, which is this week at Bungie, and major nerfs coming for when Season of Opulence releases. I have the TWAB right here, and I'm just going to read off the major nerfs that are coming with Season of Opulence. And currently, the Destiny community is very frustrated by some of these decisions. The first one we're going to start with is Whisper of the Worm, an exotic sniper rifle with the White Nail perk that puts ammo back into your reserve if you hit back into your magazine if you hit 3 crits in a row. The nerf that's coming is White Nail pulls ammo from reserves rather than creating it now. And reserve ammo is increased to 18. So previously, Whisper of the Worm would generate ammo and put it back in the magazine. You have an unlimited amount of ammo if you could keep hitting crits. That no longer exists. This nerf happened back in Destiny 1 already to what was then Black Spindle. And people are this is the one that people are all really frustrated with, because essentially White Nail is no longer a very good perk anymore, because its effects you can get from other things such as rally barricades on the Titan or warlock rifts with Lunafaction. So White Nail perk really isn't that good, and I've seen some suggestions that people are going to start switching over to weapons like Darcy, which does more damage than Whisper of the Worm. It just couldn't keep up with the ammo that Whisper of the Worm had. The next weapon we're going to be discussing is Sleeper Simulant. It's getting a reduced damage to its reduced ricochet and bounce damage on boss combatants. Essentially, what Bungie said was that certain weapons were able to maintain the same damage that Sleeper was able to maintain with a single shot on certain enemy combatants, especially the Hydra bosses that have a shield around them where the lasers bounce off the shield and hit them again. That was one of the major bosses that Sleeper Simulant was really effective against. As a result of this nerf, they're also going to modify precision behavior so that the total damage is unchanged. However, your non-precision shots will do more damage and be more forgiving. So Sleeper Simulant is getting a huge nerf. This was really effective against certain bosses, and it's pretty upsetting that the damage on Sleeper is going down. It's very frustrating that Bungie is nerfing these very important, powerful exotics in PvE, and the nerfs don't stop there. We're going to go into the next one right now, which is going to be the Shotgun Lord of Wolves. I did a video about getting it from Xur through the Faded Engram, rather than through the boring bounties the spider gives. You can go check that out. I'll put a link in the description. But essentially, just go get a Faded Engram, and it can drop in the Faded Engrams from Xur. So that's really cool. Anyway, we're going to go to Lord of Wolves. The nerfs coming in Season of Opulence. PvE damage is reduced by 20%. So right off the bat, shotguns received a nerf going into this season with Season of the Drifter. And a lot of shotguns became really bad, especially the full auto shotguns, which everyone was using with Trench Barrel for a lot of bonus damage on bosses. And when Season of the Drifter came around, those shotguns all got nerfed, so people slowly started moving over to Lord of Wolves as their primary shotgun damage. So having this major PvE reduction in damage is huge, because once again, it seems like all of the shotguns right now aren't going to be doing a lot of damage in high-end PvE content. That's not the only nerf, though, to Lord of Wolves. The second one is Release the Wolves perk has been reduced, and I would actually consider this probably a buff more than a nerf. Essentially, when you killed an ad with Lord of Wolves previously, Release the Wolves would trigger, and your next shots would fire 10 bullets instead of 5. And it made it really hard for players to control their ammo economy and control their ammo consumption, because you would kill one ad and you wouldn't be able to you would waste too much ammo on little adds too often, essentially. So now it no longer triggers on kill. Its effect now triggers by holding the reload button, similar to Hardlight and Borealis. So you get to control when you want this big burst of 10 bullets or not. So against bosses, you may want those large, heavy bursts, and when you're fighting regular adds, like a captain with a shield or something, you may only want the 5 bursts. So that's probably a buff, because you now get to control your ammo economy and your ammo consumption. The other thing is PvE damage and range bonuses on this perk, Release the Wolves, has been removed. So previously you got a range bonus and a damage bonus, and instead has been replaced with a universal damage bonus instead. So no range bonus, but a large damage bonus, a universal damage bonus to Release the Wolves. So when Release the Wolves is active, you won't have that same 20% PvE damage reduction that you had when it's not active. So essentially, when it's active against bosses, you don't have a 20% reduced damage, but you do have reduced damage of some kind. So that's Lord of Wolves, another exotic PvE weapon that has been heavily nerfed. All 3 of these weapons were really cool in Destiny 2 prior to now, and we'll see if they see any use when Season of Opulence comes around. And the community, as I've said, is very frustrated. But now we're going to get into a PvP weapon that you've been seeing in the background gameplay, Ace of Spades. So Ace of Spades now is Memento Mori, its exotic perk, where when you get a kill and reload, you get bonus damage on your bullets. So Memento Mori now ends if the weapon is stowed. That's probably the biggest nerf. So in PvP, one of the nice things about Memento Mori was if you put the gun away while it had Memento Mori active to shotgun someone and pulled it back out, you still had your damage bonus. That no longer is a thing. And with the way competitive is played, with shotguns everywhere, shotgun rushing and things like that, and the shotgun play and the constant switching of your weapons, you won't have Memento Mori as active as you used to prior to Season of the Opulence. The other thing with Memento Mori, PvP damage bonus was slightly reduced to prevent 2-tapping. This is probably a good thing. Hand cannons in PvP probably shouldn't 2-tap, especially with the Luna's, Hal, and Not Forgotten nerfs. Those not being able to 2-tap anymore. This was probably overall a good change. And then Memento Mori is active for 6 shots again rather than 5. So you get 1 bullet back, but it definitely doesn't offset the fact that if you're sniping and hand cannoning, you're not going to have Memento Mori active very often, and it's pretty frustrating. It was what made the gun really good and probably overpowered. I know that it was super powerful on PC and pretty good on console. I mean, I used it on console and really liked it. So these changes are pretty big. And we'll see if the gun gets any use. We'll see if more people swap over to something like Thorn, if people stick with Not Forgotten Luna's Howl. The hand cannon play in PvP at the beginning of Season of Opulence is going to be very open-ended for you to use a lot of what you want. So those were all the exotic weapons, exotic weapon nerfs. They didn't go over any buffs. They said in the 12 that it seemed like there will be buffs coming to other things. But these were the major changes that they wanted the community to know about prior to Season of Opulence release, because people are obviously trying to think about how they're going to gear up for the raid, especially only having 6 hours to do the raid, which we'll talk about in another video. I 100% will talk about the 6 hours and how you should use your 6 hours and if it's a good change or not, essentially. But let's get into the final change is to super generating exotic armor. So, Skull of Dire Hamkara, Orpheus Rig, and Phoenix Protocol now receive super energy back with diminishing returns, making it rarer to get a full super back. Shards of Galanor and Ursa Furiosa had their super gains capped, Shards of Galanor and Ursa Furiosa had their super gain caps reduced to be in parity with other super exotic changes. Vest had its energy reduced from 15% to 8% for killing 1 to 2 Guardians. Still scales up similar to before when killing 3 or more Guardians. PvE energy return remains similar to before. So, what does this mean? It means for super regenerating exotics, like when you are getting super energy back right as you pop the super, such as Skull, Orpheus Rig, and Phoenix Protocol, they're going to have diminishing returns similar to the Dawnblade super, where you basically, as you kill more stuff, your super energy gains back will be slowly decreased. So you'll get a big chunk at the beginning, and as you kill more stuff, you'll get less and less, making it rare to get a full super back. I'm okay with this, I guess. I mean, it was really fun to just constantly pop Orpheus Rig tethers in PvE. None of this really affected PvP too much, so it's interesting. I think it's a mistake. I think it made these exotics really fun, but it did make them extremely powerful and top tier versus other exotics. However, even then, you had other exotics in the space, like Lunafaction boots and Ophidian aspects and things like that. So there were definitely other exotics. This is overall a really interesting decision on Bungie's part, and we'll see how it works out. Shards of Galanor and Ursa Furiosa had their caps reduced, so in PvP, these exotics were really powerful at one point in getting you super energy and allowing you to use a lot of supers in the Crucible. Overall, I think it's a pretty good nerf. Once again, it's frustrating that these nerfs are happening overall and that we're getting all this information at once, but at the same time, you have to understand that Bungie's trying to make a more balanced game, and hopefully with future buffs in future TWABs that we hear about, future buffs we hear about in future TWABs, it'll offset these nerfs, and overall the gameplay experience will still be fun, because that's the real worry with all of these nerfs. And then for Vest, you're just going to get less energy back when you get, as you get more kills with the super, and you won't be able to last in the Nightshade super as long. So overall, all of these nerfs were a huge hit. It's going to really change up the game. The community currently is in dire straits. I'm very upset about this. Hopefully in the future weeks we'll get buffs, updates, and we'll see that other exotics will become more powerful and more fun to use. But if we're only getting nerfs, then we're really reverting back to what happened in Destiny 1, and that's a real worry for the Destiny community. We don't want to get to a point where everything was nerfed and boring to play with. We want fun, exciting weapons. And currently there are fun, exciting weapons. I think that Outbreak Perfected is going to be a really good gun now, because you won't have to use an exotic power weapon. I think it's going to be really interesting. So hopefully Bungie knows what they're doing. Hopefully they do bring us some buffs. Otherwise, I've been blabbering at this point. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the TWAB update. Let me know your opinions if you have any. And otherwise, hope you enjoyed the video. I will talk about the raid changes in a future video. I'm not sure when that'll be. I'm currently in the final days of moving out of my dorm room and trying to graduate and stuff like that. So it's kind of chaotic currently. But hopefully you enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.